Issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
And you better talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Oh. Can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get advice, we know. Talk to me nicely. I notice they heated, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get advice, we know. We on top, flipping the bird, they going sick. But I'ma make them eat every word, so don't trip, yeah. Even with all the bridges they burn, I won't switch. Even with all this water we dripping, we won't slip, yeah. Blast Bear Bond in the building, he don't miss. But we call it success when your circle is all rich. If you a big stepper, don't trip over small shit. I call it how I see it, but never gon' call it quits. I won't, yeah, I won't. But what do I owe the niggas? I don't even know.
KBLA Talk 1580. Do it now. Talk to me nicely. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. If you're unpacking, unboxing, processing anything that you've heard today, we had a great conversation about the three averted strikes this morning with Georgia Flowers Lee of the United Teachers of LA. We just completed a conversation with attorney Madhavi Narayanan about what is happening with black migrants and asylum seekers in this country as we see the tightening of the, yes, I'm going to call it a noose, the immigration enforcement noose that has been put forth by this administration. There's a lot of other things going on. They're all on the table. We're freestyling with open phones right now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580, or weigh in on any of the social medias. I'm at DePrima Radio on many platforms. My our most frequent one would be Instagram, but I'm also on TikTok. I'm on YouTube and X. Right now, we are streaming on YouTube at KBLA 1580, and you can find us on every single platform under that moniker, the radio station's handle, KBLA 1580. We appreciate your likes, your follows, your subscriptions, and your comments. Agree or disagree. It is all important. Bam, that was fast. Eric Swalwell is not only no longer running for governor, Eric Swalwell is no longer going to be a congressman. And that is wild to me. I did not see this coming whatsoever. I did feel like he was going to have to get out of the race for governor because it's just too much. And once, one starts coming out and then you have a number of different accusers. And even more to me damning in a way is statements by a couple of his colleagues that this was an open secret. People knew that you don't take your interns and young staffers around this guy. There's videotape, there are bleary-eyed photos, and there are credible accusations that this was going to add up to the end of the governor's race. I did think he would try to hang on longer. I thought he would drag down the process longer than he did, but I believe the San Francisco Chronicle article that was so damning was really a nail in the coffin for Swalwell. On top of that, you had a couple of women, one in particular who was willing to come forward, not anonymously, as Swalwell's comments suggested, but on the record. And that was the beginning of the end for him. This open secret conversation, we started talking about it yesterday. I have a real issue with this. Why are people walking around Congress, or in Hollywood for that matter, when everyone knows they're predators and sex pests? Open secret means something should have been done about it a long time ago. Not saying that all of us are perfect, not saying that any of us are perfect, or that we have to behave in some sort of puritanical code of conduct. But when you know that someone is a problem to the point where people are literally avoiding them, then that means something should be done about it. Either this person needs to go into some kind of a rehab program or they need to be fired, right? And we've seen this again and again. I think Harvey Weinstein is an example that everyone in Hollywood knew that he was preying upon women, starlets, wannabe stars, and this went on for years and years. Everyone knew it, and certainly the women inside of the system knew it because they probably warned each other. And these are common knowledge type situations where, if you deal with that one, you're going to have to cross this. This is a real problem, and one that, to me, is highlighted by the fact that you have not one but two congresspersons who are resigning today, a Republican and a Democrat. It couldn't be more perfectly stated that this here is a problem. It's a human problem. It's a Congress problem. It's a politics issue. It is an entertainment issue, and it needs to stop. Because if we're talking about the aftermath of the Me Too movement, yes, believe the victims, but investigate. What is it? Trust and verify. I think that's the slogan. It's a slogan I happen to agree with. I have said many times that I think the resignation of Al Franken was a terrible mistake on the part of the Democrats. People jumping to conclusions, people distancing themselves, and what turned out to be a bunch of BS that would have withstood scrutiny, and we would still have Senator Al Franken probably sitting in Congress today. That said, the opposite of that situation, the jumping to conclusions, the running for cover, the belief without verification, the opposite of that is the open secret, the Swalwell syndrome, where sleazy sex pests are operating in powerful positions, whether it's in Hollywood or politics or corporate America, and no one says anything. No one does anything. Today, Representative Tony Gonzalez, a Texas Republican who has been accused of having a sexual relationship under pressure, in other words, using his position of power to pressure this woman into sex, he's also stepping down. This particular staffer suicided, took her own life, and this story had legs. It's salacious, it's terrible, it's a sad story. So he's saying he's also going to resign. This is two of them. They were under investigation. They were facing the possibility of being removed from Congress by their colleagues. And so, and this guy Gonzalez, he's been facing these calls to step down for months now. Maybe it was the Swalwell situation. Maybe it's the fact that they're looking at, being fired or removed by their own colleagues that finally caught up with him. Today, Gonzalez also accused of chasing another member of his staff, pressing her for nude photos and sex. And so these two dudes are out. What does it mean? Well, you've got one from each party. Do they balance each other out? We will see whether the governor here in California decides to hold a special election for Swalwell's seat. He wasn't going to run for re-election because he was in the governor's race and had to step down. So his seat would have been up for election in June anyway. Seems to me the governor will wait. Why spend a bunch of money on a special election when it can be handled in June on our regular primary ballot? Let's go to Carl calling us from somewhere. Hi, Carl.
Hey, what's going on with you, Dominique? How you doing?
I'm blessed. What's on your mind?
Okay, hey, I see the Roxy Theater down there in San Francisco got a lot of things going on this weekend down there. One of them plays called We Are the Palestinian People. But hey, yeah, Tony Gonzalez, this guy only been in office, about 4 years now? I mean, he came in like a strong Air Force pilot and putting it down. And I don't even think his people wanted him up in there, and now he's out, fixing to retire, resign. That's one of I heard him say some good things about Donald Trump, and then now all of a sudden, then he flipped the script. So
Yep.
he's out.
And again, we don't know if Governor Abbott in Texas will have a special election. If they don't, that seat will remain vacant until November, because they don't have an election between now and November.
Yeah, well, I think they said the governor can't speak on it until the seats are vacated, and then he'll come up there and find out who he'll suggest. But I think he still got to be elected into it.
Yeah.
But I see Sister Kamala Harris is talking with Al Sharpton again. She was in New York City a couple of days ago, and she says she's not sure she's going to run, but she collected a lot of money last time, and maybe Al Sharpton's sticking around for some funds to go to his charity.
When you say she collected a lot of money, it was money for the campaign. It's not like she was personally benefiting from this. It's campaign funds. So that means if she don't spend it on a campaign, she either has to move it to another campaign or donate it to a different candidate. She doesn't get to keep it and just go to Jamaica and vacation.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, she did say she gave some to some frat sisters and stuff like that.
Well, it's not like she can just hand it out to her friends. Those frat sisters would have to be running for office. There are really strict rules about what you can do with money that you raise for a campaign. You can't just grift. Well, people do it, but some people go to jail for that, or they're banned for politics for life, or they have all kinds of consequences. Campaign money is meant for campaigns, so you can't just do any old thing with it. And the reason I'm pushing back on this, Carl, is because I think there's this sort of internet rumor, internet BS going around that Kamala Harris got $1 billion and she's just going to Rodeo Drive and shopping. First of all, they spent most of it on the campaign, and whatever they have left over has very strict rules. This is not her personal pocketbook.
Yeah, well, maybe next time if she run, I sure wish she would come down here and talk to us down here at the bottom. I think we might be able to get her up in there, but she got to open her heart a little bit down there.
Well, you know what? I think Kamala Harris talked to people of every walk of life. I don't believe that was the reason she didn't win. She didn't have enough time. She's a black person and a woman in a sexist, misogynist, and racist country. And on top of that, she took a terrible position on Palestine. She was too tied in with the Biden administration and all of their baggage. I think all of those are factors, but in reality, I still believe she may have won, despite all of that.
Yeah, she could.
But which we will probably not know for another 10, 20 years when the truth comes out.
Yeah, but you can't just run that house and turn it back over to the people that turned it over to you, talking about, I can't do this, I can't do that, I got to give this house back to the people, and Jesus is watching me. I can't do this and I can't do that.
But Carl,
you know what I'm saying?
Do you think Kamala Harris should run again? Do you think she should run for president in 2028?
Sure. If she thinks she's got the people out there to vouch for her, sure, why not? Give it a shot.
My why not is this. My why not is this. No.
Give it a shot.
We don't know if she'd win or not. Yeah, and you're right. Everybody deserves a shot. But my why not is this. Because she still has the Biden baggage, because America, and especially Black America, is even more horrified about what Israel is doing in Gaza than they were at the time she ran. And now you've got Iran on top of that in Lebanon, where we see Israel basically the tail wagging the dog, with Israel basically dictating U.S. policy. I believe that she should wait till 2032 if she wants to run again. She's young enough to do so. I do not think the environment is conducive, aside from the racism, sexism, that can never deter us. But because of the environment in this post-Biden era where we're in the middle of all these wars, and she just didn't do well on the topic of Palestine.
That's part of the game, Dominique, where she's going to have to change her opinion or make a decision. Is she going to continue this Palestinian stuff, allowing those people over there in Israel to damage those people?
You got to wonder.
or is she going to stand up and say, hey, I'm the president?
But you got to wonder, will folks believe that? Will
end?
Folks believe that on the campaign trail after, she didn't take a decisive enough position, which may have been nearly impossible given that she was the vice president under Biden and couldn't exactly denounce him. But nevertheless, and I've argued, and I still believe this, that she took the most clear position apart from Biden that she could without appearing to undermine him. But I think it's going to haunt her. I don't think this is her season. I do not think she should run for president. And then there's the argument, and I don't know if you believe this or not, but we'll find out when we come forward. If others do, 800-920-1580, that's the number Carl called. Do you think, as some pundits say, that we need a heterosexual white Democrat? And some would even go so far as to say moderate. I would say the opposite. I would say progressive, to effectively challenge Trump, as it may be him again, giving zero F's about the Constitution and running for a third term, or J.D. Vance, or whoever it might be, Ivanka. We'll look at that and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
5 years goes fast when you're doing something you love. 5 years of being right there with you, in your car, in your kitchen, at work, in your earbuds. And we don't take that for granted, not for a second. When it came time to celebrate our 5th anniversary, we knew it had to mean something. And we're celebrating on the most fitting day there is, Juneteenth. We're still putting the finishing touches on something really special, and before we tell the world, we want to tell you first. Once we announce this event publicly, we expect that seats are going to go fast, really fast. So, go to our website right now at KBLA1580.com and sign up to make sure you're the very first to hear what we've got planned. Before we go public with all the details, you've been riding with us. It's only right you're first to know. KBLA1580.com. We'll see you on Juneteenth for our 5th anniversary banger. Banger, banger, banger.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, host of The Voice of Reason, weeknights at 7 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580, with a personal invitation for you to join me and Insight.me as we present The Healing Box, live at Inglewood's world-famous Miracle Theater, Saturday evening, May 23rd at 7 p.m. Look, I understand your attachment style has been running your life like a rogue algorithm, and nobody has had the courage to press pause. chaos. Until now, Dr. Bakoya McCall and yours truly are curating a night where clinicians, spiritualists, and an all-star panel of black woman healers like Dr. Shalonda Sunshine Crawford, Dr. Jashana Johnson, and spiritualist Precious McGill will join some amazing spoken word artists and the legendary comedian Louis Dix to diagnose, disrupt, and heal your relational wreckage in real time. Listen, bring your trauma. As a matter of fact, bring your baby mama. No, bring your testimony. And if you're still texting your ex at 2 a.m., baby, you're not just invited, you're the target demo. Tickets are moving fast, so grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before your dating history gets flagged as a pre-existing condition. That's themiracleinglewood.com. We'll see you there Saturday, May 23rd at 7 p.m.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you waking up with us. There's so much going on in the world, and we're taking it on right here. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. That is the number to call. I don't know. If Swalwell and Gonzalez will offset each other in the House of Representatives. Seems like they might, because we do not know what the Republican governor of Texas and the Democratic governor of California will do as far as calling a special election or waiting for the already scheduled election. California and Dems may have a slight advantage here because our special election, our primary election, is already scheduled for June 2nd. It's close upon us, so it would make sense for us to wait. I think we got budget problems. We don't have money for a special election right now. Whereas if Texas decides to wait, their slim majority would get even slimmer in Congress until November, which is when their next Texas congressional possibility for an election appears. Paul is calling us from L.A. Welcome, Paul. Paul,
Good
you
morning,
with me?
Dominique.
Well,
Yeah, I'm with you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. I was just listening, and I have to call a couple of things. Her name is Kamala, not Kamala. You know why that bothers me is because that's a sound whistle that they use, that white people use to disrespect her. And when the first time I hear somebody say Kamala, my sirens go up for op.
You know what? I have to agree with you. The only reason I haven't said anything the last 2 times that's happened on this show is because I grew weary of correcting people. It sounds crazy for me to correct you. And also, she's not currently running for anything. But I mean, come on now. Y'all know how to say the names of all kinds of...
Her nieces went up there. Her nieces went up there and told you how to pronounce her name. At this point, you're doing it because you're openly disrespecting her as a black woman.
Yeah, that may be. I mean, some people didn't watch the convention, but that may be. And I also think we learn all the made up names of rappers and influencers and whatnot. We know how to say their made up names, and you can't get the name right of a woman who's been in the public eye for decades, literally, and it's the name her mama gave her.
In California, at that.
Yeah.
But Dominique, a couple of things. I get it. I know some people are upset at the situation that happened in Gaza. I was very disappointed in the Biden administration with their pro-Israel first, do nothing wrong Benjamin Netanyahu situation. But we do understand that Kamala was the vice president, and at the time he was the sitting president. We dealt with unprecedented times that a party decided to oust their incumbent when the opposition party guy that was running, they backed totally, who was the guy that literally tried a government coup on January 6th. So, what bothers me more than anything else, Dominique, is we are in a time we are dealing with direct attack on black economic and black stability in this country. Kamala, when I hear Kamala wouldn't be a good candidate or Kamala fell in 2024, the first thing I say is, okay, what were the policies that you had against? And most people didn't even read the policies. What if I told people that Kamala had a $25,000 first-time home buyer proposal that she had? What if I told for black entrepreneurs that Kamala had she wanted to raise the $5,000 deduction to $50,000 deduction for small business startups? How about she ran her campaign on proposals for medical health care and lowering those costs? How about if I said she ran her campaign on lowering the cost of living? Who does that directly impact? Black people. So when I hear these talking points that she doesn't know, she didn't stand for anything, we didn't know what she ran on. Yeah, you did. What happened is you have issues with sisters. Call a spade a spade.
Well, I mean, they're in the chat right now saying she's not black, and this really ticks me off, perhaps because I'm also a person of multiple heritage, but I would argue that most black Americans are, right? My mom is Italian, my dad is black American, but most of us have somebody in the woodpile somewhere, whether forcibly or purposefully. And so for us to decide that we're the gatekeepers of her blackness is pure BS to me. Her mama is Indian, her dad is black. Period. She's from Oaktown. There's so much Oaktownness about her. She's an AKA. She went to Howard. And I think when we as black people, whether you consider yourself freedman, FBA, or Negro, or whatever, blackity black, decide that we're the police over other people's blackness, that to me is falling into a trap that does not serve us in any way, shape, or form. And it's also just historically, let me say ahistorical instead of what I was going to say.
Yeah, Dominique, and you know what's sad about that is they created the one-drop rule. They did that. And when people use those talking points, let's just call it what it is. The same thing just happened with Jasmine Crockett. This country and this world specifically has issues with anti-blackness, but definitely with what? Attacking black women. And there's this idea that I could never, ever have a leader that's a sister, not just a woman, but a sister. Look at what's going on with the country right now. We have the markets, we have the world making every single excuse in the world for their mad king and their lunatic destroying everything in real time. But everybody has no smoke for that. But what we want to say is, well, Kamala didn't let me know what did you even read her policies?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't even find them. So what you're telling me is, like everybody else is, if I want to hide $1 million from you, hide it in a book because you won't read it.
Yes, indeed, Paul. You're welcome to stay with me. You always have a lot of great facts, information, and stuff to say. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more. You're invited in, just like Paul, on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Trump says he will not apologize to Pope Leo. The war on words between the pontiff and the president over Iran erupted over the weekend, with Leo criticizing Trump's military actions, leading Trump to call Leo weak on crime. Leo says he has no fear of the Trump administration. Monday, Trump addressed the criticism he got for posting a meme that appeared to depict the president as Jesus. Trump insisted the image was supposed to be him as a doctor healing people. The WNBA draft was held Monday night in the Big Apple. AZ Fudd was selected first overall by the Dallas Wings. And a new trailer has been released for The Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. The film will hit theaters November 20th. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you need to lose 50 pounds or more and diets haven't worked, you're not alone. West Medical offers physician-guided weight loss consultations to help you understand your options. Most PPO insurance plans are accepted and they verify your benefits for free. Call 1-800-WESTMED today for your free consultation.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The UCLA women's basketball team had a historic night Monday in the WNBA draft. 5 UCLA players were selected in the first round. No school in the 30-year history of the WNBA draft had that many players chosen in the first round. UConn had the previous high for first-round picks with 4 players selected in 2002. UCLA is also the first school to have 6 players overall selected in the same WNBA draft. Charlize Leger-Walker was a second-round pick of the Connecticut Sun. The record night for the UCLA women's basketball program comes 8 days after winning their first national championship. UCLA's first-round picks. Lauren Betts taken at number 4 by the Washington Mystics. Gabriela Jaquez at number 5 to the Chicago Sky. Kiki Rice at number 6 to the expansion Toronto Tempo. Angela Dukalik at number 9 to Washington. And Gianna Neekins at number 15 to Connecticut. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Can we just talk?
You've heard me say it before, how we talk to one another matters. Earlier this year, we launched our first cohort, and I'm grateful to those who leaned in early and helped to shape the work. Now I'm inviting you to join me for a new live seminar, The Practice of Dialogue, Becoming a More Effective Communicator. This is a small group experience designed to help you strengthen how you communicate in your work, your relationships, and your everyday life. Space is limited to keep the experience personal and interactive. So if you're ready to take your communication to the next level, now is the time to focus on the skills that make conversations meaningful. The new 4-week cohort begins Monday, May 4th, and there's a nice discount for early bird registrants. Visit TavishTalks.com to learn more and reserve your place today. That's TavishTalks.com, because better conversations don't just happen, we practice them.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and we're glad that you're here wherever you are, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on the app, or perhaps you're listening to the terrestrial radio format of 1580 AM. We appreciate you wherever you are. Paul, I know you were calling more in response to a number of things, including the conversation that Carl brought up when he veered over to Kamala Harris, who is making noises like she might be teeing up another presidential run in 2028. I supported Kamala Harris, much to the chagrin of some of my more progressive friends, when she ran for president, and I have no regrets about that. I feel like she went as far as she could. She felt she could on Gaza, given that she was a member of the Biden administration. She couldn't exactly slap him in the face. I agree with Ben Frank in the chat that he sabotaged the Biden administration, and Team Biden sabotaged her run. She didn't have enough time. We can go on and on. She's black and a woman. But that said, I don't think she should run in 2028. I feel like she should hold out for 2032. She's young enough to do so. I feel like the time is not right. Gaza and now Iran and Lebanon are too much in the news, even as Israel and Lebanon are now saying they're going to meet for the first time in 30 years. But Hezbollah is like, well, we're not abiding by that deal. It doesn't seem like the best time for her to win. Some say it needs to be a white heterosexual man at this moment for the Democrats, given the perilous moment that we are in our nation. And Paul, you were just pushing back on folks' perceptions about Kamala Harris, the endless talking points and mis and disinformation about her that exists online. And I know you had at least one other thing that you wanted to get to.
Yes, and thank you, Dominique. I definitely wanted to land on this. People care about money in their pockets, right? Kamala ran on raising the child tax credit for kids under 6 years old to $3,600. And then check this out. For children that were newborns, $6,000. The reason they didn't back Kamala is because she was going to raise corporate taxes to 28%. That's all elections are. And tell me right now, if Kamala won the election, will we be dealing with the last 60 years of our civil rights movement removed? Will we be dealing with the generals that don't get promoted because of the color of their skin? Will we be dealing with the 500,000 to 600,000 black women specifically that have lost their job because they were black women? Are we going to talk about the double increase of unemployment within the black community? If Kamala runs in 2028, she will have predominantly the bulk of the black vote. The black vote is the base of the Democratic Party. So to say that, well, she should hold up, and that's cool. You have all right to feel that way. But if you care about substance and you care about somebody that's productive, that has the track record, that can do it, that can get in the room with Wall Street and slap them around like you watched during that presidential debate, you're going to stick with Kamala Harris. And for that guy to say that Kamala that hasn't been around, she still goes to church in Inglewood. So, please miss me with, if you don't know, say you don't know. The problem is we get these microphones because of social media, and we say things and talking points that they use because that's their way to do what? Disrespect black people.
And this is a Talking Point Tuesday, and you make a fair point. One of the reasons that I hesitate, for Kamala Harris to run in 2028. And, we can agree to disagree, Paul. That's fine. I love the way you stand up for black women. I got to say, that's a beautiful thing each and every time I hear you do it. Is that, she does have so many talking points that have been leveled against her that have been very, very effective, even though they may be mis and disinformation. I'm seeing some of them in the chat right now. The talking points against Kamala Harris, that she supposedly jailed more people than any other prosecutor. Wrong. But guess what? In San Francisco. But guess what? She was a prosecutor, and that is what they do. The fact that the Biden administration supposedly didn't do anything for black people in hate crimes, also wrong. There was a bill that was signed by the president that specifically was meant to help black people be shielded from hate crimes. Now, this didn't get as much and publicity as the anti-Asian hate crime bill, but it actually still happened. But that talking point persists, and I think that that's part of the reason why it's hard for Kamala Harris to win, Paul, because these talking points and these sort of smears on her record have been so drilled over and over and over again on social media, where it's a big, heavy lift to overcome them.
And there is the reason why I always push for strong focus on building our infrastructure, strong focus on supporting ours. Why are you still listening to their propaganda in their media when you have black independent media that you can come to and get the facts?
The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, H.R. 55, signed into law by President Biden in 2022, officially makes lynching a federal hate crime. That is the direct antidote to the talking point that I'm hearing in our First Things First KBLA delegation comments section here on YouTube. And that's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of hit job that has been so effective, right? And also, just for the record, the anti-Asian hate bill didn't just help Asians. What it did is give
Exactly.
money to every anti-hate crime, every human relations commission body in the whole country, so they could stop hate crimes against everybody, and so that they could provide support to hate crime survivors. They didn't just say, "Oh, you're not Asian, so go away." They named it the anti-Asian hate crime bill because of what was happening in our country at that moment in time, because of President Trump naming COVID, the China flu and all of that. This was a response, but it wasn't only for Asians. So these are exactly the type of talking points that we are meant to debunk every single Tuesday on this show.
Yes, and a couple of things before I go, Dominique. Thank you for this. $17 billion in the Biden.
Paul, we lost you for a second. I don't know.
What did you think the first? So what do you think the first cuts happened during this current administration overall? Like, I get it. I know it's fun for people to want to jump and disrespect black women without actually knowing the truth, because being a contrarian is getting these people views and getting these people engagement and getting these people attention. But we don't have the luxury of that. And then also, I want to debunk this right now. 92% of black women voted for Kamala. 80% of black men voted for Kamala. And I told people, Dominique, when it was happening, stop sticking to those fake talking points that Steve Bannon is using and Republicans is using to divide black men and black women, because we are all against anti-black. Right? 90 million people did not vote in that election. 300,000 votes in those swing states, the election switches to Kamala. So the real question is, how do they have to start talking to those 90 million people that have checked out of the overall civic and their political engagement? That's the answer. But to say that black women and black men, for example, and that talking point of us being divided, is a lie. And stop using those right-wing talking points that we are divided, because it's not true and it's not factual.
Yeah, Prester Jonas in here saying Kamala shielded dirty cops from prosecution in San Francisco. Another talking point. I mean, she's a prosecutor, so of course she didn't rush to prosecute cops, as most prosecutors don't. But actually, the crazy thing about that talking point...
Back on track.
The crazy thing about that talking point, Paul, is that the exact opposite is actually true.
Yes, it is.
The reason that the cops targeted and continue to target Kamala Harris is because she refused to seek the death penalty for a man who was accused of killing a cop. That's the truth of it. I'm from San Francisco. Don't even play with me. That is what actually happened. Okay? And so it's so interesting that talking point is the exact opposite of the truth, and yet it gets traction. It's even here in our very informed KBLA delegation, which surprises me, unless it's an intentional hit job.
There you go. Look up yourself. And this is where Kamala was co-sponsored in the Senate committee a bill for reparations on the Democratic side. But most people wouldn't even know that. You know why? Because where they get their information from. Yep. If they were getting their information from black independent radio, they would know these things. But they choose to listen to white mainstream radio or TV that tells them lies, and they roll with it. Look up Back on Track, Kamala Harris. And you're going to see it's actually she did quite the opposite of what the media is telling you. And she was helping getting brothers out of jail. Those brothers were my friends that I actually grew up with in South Central LA. So when I hear the lies, that's the reason I call it. We got to debunk that. But then first we have to start with, where are we getting our information from?
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Always so passionate about what you have to say. We're going to go to Eric calling us from the city of Carson. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm blessed. What is on your mind?
I have a statement and a question. And my statement is that when I was in college, I did everything that I could to make things easy as possible for myself. So I had study groups, I had study guides, I talked to the professor, whatever I needed to do to succeed in that class. And so Kamala was a part of the Biden administration.
Kamala. It rhymes with mom.
Kamala.
Rhymes with mom.
Kamala was a part of the Biden administration. And in my opinion, she didn't have enough time to prep for her own administration. You've said that all morning for her own platform. She couldn't separate from Biden, so why did she try? So this is my question for you. What I would like to know, and I'm not the smartest person in the room here, why didn't Biden say, I'm going to not do any I'm not going to do any, what is it called? I'm not going to talk to the public at all, a press, whatever it's called.
Press conference.
And
press availabilities, yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to run for a second, do a second run, and I'll probably win. And if I win, I'm going to step down and let you be the president because you don't have enough time to establish your own platform. That's what is in my simplistic mind. What do you say about that?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what you're trying to get at here, Eric. I mean, what's your bottom line here? I'm not really sure what you're trying to get at.
Okay. My bottom line is that I don't know a lot about politics, okay, and I'm not trying to.
You say that, but you always ask informed questions. But okay.
So in my mind, I'm just thinking what I would have did on the streets, and I would have said, "Hey, Biden, you run, and then step down as the president for your illness, and then I will be the president of the United States."
Yeah, I remember.
Because ain't nobody gonna.
I remember folks were saying that during the campaign on this show. Why didn't he just run? But I think that Democrats panicked and didn't think he would win, and I don't know that he would have won. I mean, you got to know he got his butt kicked in that debate.
That's my point. There shouldn't have been any debates. He should not. He was not in a position where he could present himself well. So if he hadn't did any debates, I don't think it's a requirement, then nobody would have been aware that he was declining. And then, I mean, he was running up against Trump. I think he would have won.
Well, it didn't look good at the time. Maybe he would have won. And if he would have won, I don't think something tells me his ego wouldn't have let him step down and pass the mic to Kamala Harris. Although that would have been a brilliant move. It would have been a great way to make sure we had a black woman president. And they're arguing in the chat, okay, Kamala has a white husband. Yeah, well, so does Trump. Kamala wouldn't be perfect, but she'd be better than Biden. Someone else says, I mean, better than Trump. Clearly. And if you can't see that, I don't know even what we're arguing about at this point. The fact of the matter is we're seeing the death and destruction of countries. We're seeing children killed by the tens of thousands. Now it's not just Gaza. It's happening in Iran. It's happening in Lebanon. Actual humans are being incinerated. Entire cities and towns are being reduced to rubble. In the name of what? Trump Gaza? Right? We just kidnapped a president, and now we're stealing their oil. All of these things are not just bad for America. They're bad for our credibility. They're bad for the world. They're bad for mommy and daddy and granny and grandpa and auntie and uncle here in the United States who have to buy gas to take their kids to school. This is not, you can't just compartmentalize it like that. And so they're saying if we supported Kamala, that means we supported Israel and their genocide in Gaza. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Clearly, and I was at the Democratic convention, and I said, I'm from San Francisco. They're like, oh, that's different than Oakland. It's the Bay Area, friends. And I had a show called Home Turf. We traveled all around the Bay all the time to report on what was happening. And I spent plenty of time in Oaktown, all right? So let's not act like I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the Bay Area, yay area. That was not only where I lived, it was my job. The point is, they're trying to say she's from Berkeley, not from Oakland. You're splitting hairs, all right? Oh, they're from Carson, not from Compton. Okay. All right. Rolls eyes. But the point is, this is a black American woman, and all these talking points to the contrary are BS. And I understand that. So if you voted for Abdullah and West, more power to you. I would have voted for them because I love their platform. Dr. Abdullah is my friend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Except I didn't think they were going to win. And they did not win. And they did not come close. And now we have this pile of burning trash who's posting memes of himself as the Lord Jesus Christ and then turning around and saying, oh, well, no, I'm dressed up as a doctor. Have you ever seen a doctor like that? People are saying that's cognitive decline. I call BS. I think that he was very clearly lying from his right mind. He knows he was trying to be the savior. He said it out of his own mouth. Okay, I'm on a rant. I admit it. But the point is, you see where we are in America. You see where the world is at. So supporting Kamala Harris does not mean supporting a genocide. It means supporting more common sense, humanitarian, what's the opposite of unhinged? Hinged approach to the humanity, to the human race, to the future of the planet. Let me not even go into the green implications. The world is on fire and you're still saying talking points about Kamala Harris? Make it make sense. News, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
For the first time ever, the Action Altadena Build Together Fair and Altadena Rebuild Trade Show are coming together. If you were impacted by the Eaton Canyon fire and you're still asking, where do I start? This is for you. Join James Farr, host of KBLA Talk 1580's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, Sunday, April 19th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Collaboratory in Altadena. Get connected to the resources, experts, and support you need all in one place. Plus music, food, games, and prize drawings for the whole family. For more information, visit Eventbrite Altadena Rebuild Trade Show, because rebuilding starts together.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now. The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Wow, we had a lot to say about that and probably still do. I had planned to talk about Ashley Janae, who went to Tanzania for her birthday, Zanzibar to be exact, but we'll hold that until tomorrow because clearly we have gone down the rabbit hole of presidential politics here and the direction of the Democratic Party at this moment as we see the resignation of Congressman Eric Swalwell, not just candidate Eric Swalwell, but Congressman Eric Swalwell. It's always a good time and mind expanding to talk with the KBLA delegation. I love how smart you are, how educated you are, how much you pay attention. I always learn a lot from you, and I hope the feeling is mutual. Now, the question I pose, and maybe we can talk about this on a Think Tank Thursday, is who would you support? Some of y'all are saying you don't support Kamala Harris running again. Some are saying you do. But if the litmus test is Gaza, then who do you support? Because it ain't Governor Gavin Newsom. He's been very, very pro-Netanyahu, possibly his BFF. If you don't support Netanyahu and the Israeli agenda in Gaza, then who would you support for president in 2028 and for governor for that matter? If the litmus tests are reparations, which Vice President Kamala Harris came out in favor of, not just when she was a senator and co-authored that bill with whoever it was in the House, I can't think of it off the top of my head, that supported H.R. 1 at that time. Not only did she do that, she reiterated her support on the campaign trail, which was very bold. Okay, I can't think of another presidential who's come out in favor of reparations. But Gaza, if those are the litmus tests, then who would you support? And that's what I need to figure out. Because if we're going to go hard like that and say, okay, these are the lines in the sand that we will not cross, then we need to be very clear about who is supporting that agenda and who is, not just better than Trump. Better than Trump is clearly not enough for our KBLA delegation, and I'm not mad at that. All right, it is time for Tavis Smiley. He's got an amazing Tuesday show on deck for you. You do not want to miss it. Don't forget to tap in with me on all the socials. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio on all platforms, including YouTube. Please like, follow, and subscribe. The station is at KBLA 1580. Everywhere. We've got so much coming up, so much going on. You want to tap in, you can go to our website, KBLA1580.com. I'm very grateful for you and grateful to be here. Like my dad, the late and amazing Amiri Baraka, used to say, a person is either free or they are not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until next time, KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. President Trump says he will not apologize to Pope Leo. The war on words between the pontiff and the president over Iran erupted over the weekend, with Leo criticizing Trump's military actions, leading Trump to call Leo weak on crime. Leo says he has no fear of the Trump